What's up? I'm Lily. Revenge Crown brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go. The champagne toast hadn't even finished when my mother tapped her glass with a fork, standing at the head table with the confidence of someone about to announce good news. 150 wedding guests turned to look at her, expecting a sweet maternal speech about love and family. I have an important announcement, Mom said, her voice carrying across the historic barn we'd rented in the Berkshires. As you all know, Emma is starting medical school at Columbia in the fall. Medical school is expensive, nearly $400,000 over 4 years, and as a family, we've decided to reallocate resources to support her education. My sister Emma, sitting 3 tables away in her bridesmaid dress, was nodding along like this was completely normal. Like we'd discussed it. Like I'd agreed. The venue payment that David's generous parents made for this beautiful reception, $35,000, will be redirected to Emma's tuition fund. It's still in the venue's escrow account, waiting to be released next week. David and Sophie will understand that education is more important than ... will quotes. She gestured around. A building deposit. The room went silent. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Someone's grandmother gasped. My new wife, Sophie, sitting beside me in her wedding dress, didn't miss a beat. She pulled out her phone, tapped it twice, and held it up. Hi, Richard. Yes, we need you here now. Mom's trying to steal our venue deposit. Sophie. My mother's face flushed. Don't be dramatic. This is family helping family. Sophie kept her phone to her ear. Yes, she announced it publicly at our wedding reception. In front of 150 witnesses. I'm recording this conversation by the way Massachusetts is a one-party consent state. I found my voice. Mom, that money isn't yours. It was paid directly to the venue by Sophie's parents. It's not in your name. You have no access to it. Emma stood up now, her face incredulous. David, seriously? Medical school is my future. This reception is one day. I need that money more than you need some fancy barn. Actually, Sophie said, still on the phone, you need exactly 0 of our money. Richard, how far are you? 15 minutes out, came a voice from her phone's speaker. Don't let anyone leave, especially not the mother-in-law. My father shifted uncomfortably at the head table. Son, your mother and I discussed this. Emma's education is important. Your in-laws are wealthy, they can afford it. This is the responsible thing to do. Sophie finally lowered her phone. Mr. Bennett, let me explain something. My parents paid the venue directly. The contract is in my name and David's name. Your wife has no legal access to those funds. What she's attempting is fraud. That's ridiculous, Mom said, but her voice wavered. The venue manager is my college roommate. Carol said she'd help redirect the payment as a favor. Family helps family. The room erupted in whispers. Sophie's father, Thomas, stood up from his table. He was a corporate attorney, semi-retired, with the kind of courtroom presence that made opposing counsel nervous. Patricia, did you just admit that you conspired with a venue employee to misappropriate funds from a contract you not party to? Misappropriate? Mom laughed nervously. Tom, don't be ridiculous. We're family now. What's ours is theirs and what's theirs is ours. That's how family works. No, Sophie said coldly. That's how embezzlement works. A man in a suit walked into the barn. Not Richard, someone else. He approached our table and showed Sophie a badge. Mrs. Bennett? I'm Detective James Crawford. I'm Detective James Crawford. Your attorney called me 20 minutes ago with a heads up about a potential fraud situation. My mother went pale. This is insane. I'm not committing fraud. I'm helping my daughter. With money that doesn't belong to you, Detective Crawford said mildly. That's literally the definition of theft. I haven't taken anything yet, Mom protested. Actually, you have. A woman in business casual walked in behind the detective. I'm Carol Winters, the venue manager Patricia referenced. Mrs. Bennett, I need to speak with you. Mom's face lit up. Carol, tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Carol didn't smile. Patricia, you came to my office yesterday and pressured me to redirect the venue payment to an account you provided. You claimed you had authorization from David and Sophie. You showed me a forged email that appeared to be from Sophie requesting the redirect. I became suspicious and contacted Sophie directly this morning to verify. She confirmed she'd sent no such email. I've already provided the forged document to Detective Crawford. The room went completely silent. I didn't forge anything, Mom said quickly. That must have been a mistake. Maybe I accidentally. The email header shows it was created on your home computer, Carol said quietly. I'm sorry, Patricia. I've known you for 30 years, but this is criminal fraud. I had to report it. Sophie's attorney Richard finally arrived, slightly out of breath. He was a litigator Sophie had worked with at her law firm before she left to start her own practice. Sorry I'm late. Traffic from Boston. What did I miss? Confession to attempted fraud in front of 150 witnesses, Sophie said calmly. And apparently document forgery. Richard's eyebrows shot up. Well then. Detective, I assume you're handling the criminal side. Already in progress, Crawford confirmed. Mrs. Bennett, I need you to come with me to answer some questions. At my son's wedding? Mom looked at me desperately. David, tell them this is crazy. Tell them I was just trying to help Emma. I looked at my mother. At the woman who'd spent my entire childhood comparing me to Emma, the golden child. The brilliant daughter who was going to be a doctor. While I'd chosen software engineering, which Mom had called a trade at my college graduation. You forged documents, I said quietly. You tried to steal $35,000 from my wife's family. At our wedding. In front of everyone we love, and you're asking me to defend you? Emma jumped in. David, you have plenty of money. You're a senior engineer at a tech company. You don't need this venue deposit back. I need tuition money. Medical school is expensive. Sophie turned to look at my sister for the first time. Emma, your brother and I both work in tech. We have student loans from our own degrees. David has $140,000 in student debt. I have $95,000. We're paying those off while saving for a house. We're not wealthy just because we work in a high-paying field. But your parents are loaded, Emma said. My parents are comfortable, Sophie corrected. They saved for decades to be able to afford things like paying for our venue. That doesn't mean their money is available to fund your education. This is unbelievable. Emma looked at our mother. Mom, we should just leave. They're not going to help. They never help.
Actually, Richard said, pulling out a folder, you should stay.
Because we're going to discuss the $67,000 David has given you and your mother over the past 6 years. I blinked. What? Sophie smiled at me. Surprise, honey. I hired Richard 2 months ago to do a forensic accounting of your financial history. I knew something was off when your mother kept asking you for money and you kept giving it. Richard found everything. Richard opened the folder. David, over the past 6 years, you've given your mother $43,000 in various loans that were never repaid. You've given your sister $24,000 for various expenses, MCAT prep, application fees, interview travel, apartment deposits, none of it repaid. Total, $67,000. Those were gifts, Mom said quickly. Family gifts. Richard pulled out papers. These are text messages where you explicitly promised to repay him. November 2019. Just $5,000 for Emma's MCAT course. We'll pay you back by Christmas. February 2021. Can you cover Emma's apartment deposit? $3,000. We'll pay you back when Dad's bonus comes through. Should I continue? My father had been silent until now. Those were family emergencies. David helped because that's what families do. Families don't lie about paying money back, Sophie said. Families don't forge documents to steal venue payments. Families don't show up at weddings and try to commit fraud. Detective Crawford stepped forward. Mrs. Bennett, I really do need you to come with me. We can do this voluntarily, or I can arrest you right here in front of all these people. Your choice. This is my son's wedding. Mom's voice went shrill. And you chose to commit a crime at it, Crawford replied. Decisions have consequences. Sophie stood up, smoothing her wedding dress. Detective, before she leaves, I need something on record. Mom Bennett, did you or did you not tell your college roommate to redirect our venue payment to an account controlled by you? It was for Emma's education. Yes or no? Yes, but, and did you forge an email purporting to be from me to authorize that redirect? Silence. Mrs. Bennet, I have the email in question right here, Carol said quietly. The forensic analysis shows it came from your computer. Please don't lie. Mom's shoulders slumped. Fine. Yes, I created an email. But I did it for Emma. My daughter needs that money for medical school. No, I said, finding my voice. Emma needs that money because she spent the past 4 years partying instead of working part-time like I did. She graduated with no savings because she took beach vacations every spring break while I worked 2 jobs through college. She chose the most expensive medical school that accepted her instead of the state school that offered her a partial scholarship. Her lack of planning is not our emergency. Emma's face went red. How dare you? How dare I? I stood up. Emma, I've given you $24,000 over 6 years. Money I earned, money I needed for my own student loans. Money you promised to pay back and never did. And now you show up at my wedding and support Mom trying to steal even more. Sophie's father approached our table. Detective Crawford, my daughter and son-in-law would like to press full charges. Fraud, forgery, attempted theft, conspiracy. All of it. Dad, you don't have to... I started. Yes, I do, Thomas said firmly. Patricia needs to learn that actions have consequences. And frankly, David, you need to learn that it's okay to stand up to family members who abuse you. Richard handed Detective Crawford a business card. I'll be handling the civil suit. We're suing for the $67,000 in unpaid loans, plus interest, plus damages for emotional distress, and this wedding disruption. $200,000? Dad's voice cracked. We don't have that kind of money. Then you shouldn't have stolen, Sophie said simply. Detective Crawford put a hand on my mother's arm. Mrs. Bennet, let's go. Wait, Emma stood up. What about my medical school? I start in 8 weeks. Sophie turned to her. Emma, your mother's criminal activity has nothing to do with your education. You can take out student loans like everyone else. Like David did, like I did. Welcome to adulthood. You're a layer, Emma said desperately. You could help me get scholarships or something. I'm a corporate attorney, Sophie said. I negotiate contracts, not financial aid. And even if I could help, I wouldn't. You just supported your mother trying to steal from us at our wedding. That doesn't really inspire generosity. As Detective Crawford led my mother toward the exit, she looked back at me one last time. David, you're really going to let them do this? I'm your mother. You're a thief who happens to be related to me, I said quietly. There's a difference. The barn door closed behind her and the detective. The wedding guests sat in stunned silence. Sophie's mother, Jennifer, stood up. Well, that was dramatic. DJ, I believe we have a father-daughter dance scheduled. The music started back up. Slowly, conversations resumed. Some guests approached us to offer support. Others quietly gathered their things and left early, mostly people from my side of the family. My father approached our table as Sophie and I were cutting the cake. Son, we need to talk about this. You can't seriously be pressing charges against your mother. I can and I am, I said. What will people think? They'll think I stood up to a criminal, I said, even though she's my mother. Especially because she's my mother. Emma tried one more time as guests were leaving. David, please, can we just talk about this? Maybe we can work something out? No, Sophie said before I could respond. Emma, you're not getting any money from us. Not now, not ever. You supported your mother trying to steal from us. That's unforgivable. I need that money, Emma's voice rose. No, you want that money, I corrected. You need to take out student loans like 90% of medical students. You need to learn that other people's money isn't yours just because you want it. The criminal case moved quickly. Mom was charged with fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit theft. The forged email was damning evidence. The digital forensics showed it had been created on her home computer, sent through a fake email account she'd set up with headers that attempted to mimic Sophie's work email. Her attorney tried to negotiate. Richard refused any settlement that didn't include full restitution and a guilty plea. The civil suit hit harder. Richard's forensic accounting documented everything, every loan that was never repaid, every promise to pay that was broken, every guilt-tripped text message about how family helps family. My mother's attorney sent a settlement offer, $20,000, paid over 5 years in exchange for dropping both the criminal and civil cases. Sophie showed me the email. What do you think? I think she forged documents to steal from us at our wedding, I said. I think she's never paid back a penny of the $67,000 I've given her. I think $20,000 is insulting. So we go to trial? We go to trial. The trial lasted 3 days. The evidence was overwhelming. Text messages, bank records, the forged email. Carol's testimony about how my mother had pressured her to redirect the funds. Sophie's testimony about the phone call during our reception. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in prison, suspended to 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service. The civil judgment came through 2 weeks later. $67,000 in unpaid loans, $34,000 in interest and damages, $25,000 for emotional distress. Total, $126,000. Emma sent me an email the day the judgment was published. I hope you're proud of yourself. Mom's on probation. Dad had to take out a second mortgage to pay the restitution. I had to defer medical school because we can't afford it anymore. You destroyed this family over money. I didn't respond. Sophie did. Emma, your mother destroyed this family when she forged documents to steal from us at our wedding. Your brother has spent 6 years funding your lifestyle while you made no effort to support yourself. The only thing David destroyed was the illusion that you could keep taking from him without consequences. Good luck in medical school. Maybe take out loans like everyone else. 6 months after the wedding, my father called. It was the first time we'd spoken since the trial. David, your mother's first restitution payment is due next week. We don't have it all. Can you give us an extension? No, I said simply. If we don't pay, the judgment allows you to garnish our wages. We'll lose the house. You should have thought of that before Mom tried to steal $35,000 at my wedding. She made a mistake. She committed a crime, I corrected. Multiple crimes, and you supported her. You stood up at my wedding and told me it was the responsible thing to do to let her steal from Sophie's family. You were complicit. I'm your father. You're a man who raised me to believe family helps family, then stood by while Mom stole from me for 6 years. That's not a father, that's an enabler. He hung up. The first payment arrived 3 days late. $3,047.50. Exactly 1/24 of the total amount, as stipulated in the payment plan. Sophie and I used the money to pay down my student loans. Every payment that arrived, and they all did, always a few days late but always complete, went straight to debt reduction. A year after the wedding, Emma sent a friend request on Facebook. I declined it. She sent a message anyway. I got into a different medical school. State school, partial scholarship. I'm starting in the fall. I wanted you to know I did it without your money. I didn't respond. 2 years after the wedding, my mother's probation ended. She sent a letter to our house forwarded from my old apartment, since we'd moved and never given her the new address. Inside was a single sentence. I hope you're happy with what you've done to this family. Sophie found me reading it on our back deck. What's that? Letter from my mom. Says I destroyed the family. You didn't destroy anything, Sophie said, sitting beside me. You just stopped letting them destroy you. I threw the letter away. 3 years after the wedding, Sophie and I bought our first house. A 3-bedroom colonial in a good school district, because we were starting to think about kids. We paid 20% down money we'd saved from our salaries plus the restitution payments that had helped us clear David's student debt ahead of schedule. My Aunt Ad's sister somehow found our new address and sent a card. Congratulations on the house. Your mother and father are struggling financially because of your lawsuit. I hope you can sleep at night. I sent it back with a note. They're struggling because they committed crimes and stole from me for 6 years. I sleep perfectly. Please don't contact us again. 4 years after the wedding, we had our first child. A daughter, Claire. We sent birth announcements to friends and Sophie's family, not to mine. Emma sent a card anyway, somehow getting our address. Congratulations on the baby. I'm in my 2nd year of medical school. Still paying off loans, thanks to you. Hope your daughter learns better values than you have. Sophie threw it away before I could even finish reading it. 5 years after the wedding, the final restitution payment arrived, $3,047.50, right on schedule. 5 years of monthly payments, never missed, always late but always complete. Sophie and I took the money and donated it to a scholarship fund for first-generation college students. The David and Sophie Bennett Educational Freedom Fund, helping kids whose families didn't support them, kids who had to make it on their own. It felt right. My mother tried to take my wedding venue fund at the reception. She stood up in front of everyone we loved and announced she was stealing $35,000 from my in-laws to fund my sister's medical school. She'd forged documents, conspired with the venue manager, planned it all in advance. She thought she'd get away with it because family helps family. She was wrong. She got probation, community service, and a $126,000 judgment. My sister learned to take out student loans like everyone else. My father learned that enabling theft has consequences. And I learned that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is stop letting family abuse you just because they re-family. Sophie and I have been married 6 years now. We have a daughter, a house, and manageable debt. We have friends who support us and in-laws who respect us. We don't have my birth family. And that's not a loss, it's a choice. The best choice I ever made was pressing charges at my own wedding. Because some things are more important than keeping the peace. Like keeping your integrity.